you should anyway. I literally just got mine fixed.
All right, let's see. Tweet
And
this
I look like
out.
shit, so it's fine. You know.
Yeah, you and Jason look like shit, so you have something in common.
Pull up Jay's Twitch.
I'm just blurry today. That's all.
Hey, you guys should be happy. She doesn't usually come on video at all.
I know. I was surprised.
She doesn't come on video at all.
Well, there's that one, but we get royalties for that. I don't want to ruin
it. That's a way to start the show.
Are we live?
All right.
I don't have the Twitch pulled up yet. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. I'll give us a minute to let everybody know that we're here.
Look, I have a big gay fan. You see it?
No, because your fake background is taking it over.
See, look, my big gay fan.
Behold! Oh, it says be bold. I thought it said behold.
Yeah. It says something else on here. It says hornitos, and I'm like, does that mean horny?
Listen, I wanted to get her. I got that for her at Pride.
Yes.
And I wanted to get her a shirt that would have been awesome, but they didn't make it at fat kid sizes because they're, whatever, fattest.
Yeah.
But that one would have said, let me get one thing straight. I'm not. And I just thought it was hilarious.
We came up with a good shirt idea on Nerd Cave Retro a little while ago. I'm going to make a new shirt this week.
Oh, yeah?
I couldn't remember the name of the stuff in Final Fantasy VII, the stuff that they pump out of the planet. I couldn't remember what they called it, so I called it Planet Juice. So now I'm going to make a t-shirt with the Planet Fitness logo, but it just says Planet Juice.
Nice. I will buy that. I will buy that.
Hello, Rampage. He came into the chat room and said, "Who are these people?"
Yeah, I got
Hey!
Rampage is the awesome thread that ties all of our podcasts together.
Even
the one that's not on today, NCR. He's NCR. He's Open Micers. He's Innsmouth. He's Jester's Court.
He's a fan of us all.
So
I wouldn't really call him a fan as much as he pities my pitiful podcast, but.
All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Jacob, you got the ad read at the beginning?
Yeah. How do we want to do the ads, by the way? Do you guys have ads that you have to read for your shows or what?
We
aren't
not
that cool.
popular. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
All
so,
right.
Are you going to read them with French fries in your mouth?
Of course he is.
Well, yeah, of course I am. So I'm ready. I'm ready when you are, bud. Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Do you like retro video games? Then you should check out the Nerd Cave Retro on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you can find podcasts. If you liked the show, then you can join the Discord by going to the Nerd Cave Retro Twitter page and click the link at the top of the page. This episode is also brought to you by the lovely folks at our Patreon, www.patreon.com/OM podcast, including but not limited to Derek Shirley, Derek Diamond, Kathy Gutierrez Figueroa, and Rob himself, Mr. Robbie Hennig. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. And as patrons, you get to check out me and Jason eating hot wings of death. And I get tased for a second time in this month's bonus Patreon episode. So for as little as $1 a month, you can go see that. And let's start the show.
Let's do it. Can only mean one thing. It is time for the Open Micers podcast. My name is Jason Robbins.
I'm 15 minutes late, but I got chicken tenders and French fries, so I regret nothing. I'm Jacob Craig.
And we're doing a crossover episode this week with... Oh, I didn't mean to start that. Hold on, stop.
It's like with the theme music again.
I don't have you guys' theme music here. We have Mr. Jester at Jester8082 from the Jester's Court podcast. Mr. Mike Evelyn, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. And can I just butt in real quick and say Jacob being late while bringing food with him tracks 100%.
Yeah, and he didn't bring any for the rest of us. So
he is the guy that's going to roll into work 20 minutes late with a coffee like, yeah, I stopped. What?
And another special guest tonight, And I don't know if you have. I don't know if she's been on the show before. That we have.
I've never
has
been on
not.
this show.
Never.
no.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's Miss Jen Evelyn from the Innsmouth Rag Podcast here tonight.
Yeah, I'm here.
And what we've decided to do this evening, we did an episode of Jester's Court, or I did an episode of Jester's Court. What, about a year ago? Late
it's
last
been
year.
like a year.
It was like episode 5.
Yeah.
So it was one of my first episodes. It was fall, so not quite a year, but pretty much we can call it a year.
And we were talking about Halloween 3, and of course, me and Mike like the movie. Jen does not like it.
Hate it.
Jacob does not like it. So we've
Cut
decided
it out.
to do another episode talking about the movie, but we've broken into 2 teams. We have Team Jester's Court, which is with me and Mike, and we have Team Innsmouth Rag with Jacob and Jen.
Yeah.
And guess who's going to be attacking, and guess who's going to be defending?
Oh yeah, we got Team Jada Pinkett Smith versus Team Wilford Brimley going on here. We got
We have the diabetes.
Honest to God,
Oh my god.
pancreatically challenged versus follically challenged.
there's the connection. I couldn't get the connection for our side. There it is.
Oh god.
So what does that mean? If you have no hair, you automatically like the movie. If you have diabetes, you hate the movie. Is that just how it works? Or
It's our lack of being able to use our glucose properly that makes us hate this movie so much.
So it's glucose. It boils down to glucose is the reason
Look,
you guys
if
hate
Wilford
this
Brimley
movie.
was in this movie instead of Tom Atkins, automatic 10 out of 10 for me.
Yes.
Hey,
he
hey,
would fucking win it.
Wilford Brimley would not have come up with the awesome workaround for what's her name? I can't think of the actress's name. Not being able to show nipple.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. I
But,
don't know.
um,
He's,
But I can't see Wilford Brimley drinking road beers, though. You know,
dude, Wilford Brimley is the face of road beer. What are you talking about?
No,
you
he's
don't have
not.
a mustache that looks like that and don't have road beer.
He'd have road oatmeal. That's what he would have.
Road oatmeal. Title of your sex tape?
Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
It's definitely the title of his sex tape.
So if you've never seen Halloween 3, it is the redheaded stepchild of the Halloween series. Even though, you know, we've got the new Halloween movies, which are retconned to be direct sequels from the first movie, basically wiping out everything from 2 to 78, wherever they stopped originally.
105.
Yeah, 107, 108, somewhere around there. And Halloween 3 was the outlier because originally what it was supposed to be was when John Carpenter made the Halloween series, he wanted to turn Halloween into a yearly anthology series. Each movie was supposed to be a different story, but when Halloween did so well, he was kind of forced into doing Halloween 2 with the return of Michael Myers, and that's why he definitively kills Michael Myers at the end of the second movie. I mean, there's no coming back from that.
But he did.
Yeah, well,
And
he
yet,
did. But then they turned around and they did Halloween 3, which was a departure for the Halloween series. It did not feature Michael Myers. It was a different story altogether. It was not a slasher flick. It is a science fiction based horror movie, sort of science fiction / witchcraft.
I was going to say
horror movie.
sci-fi fantasy horror
Yeah,
that tracks. Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah,
some
you know.
unintentional humor.
because the
Campy
original,
B-movie.
even though Michael Myers is a fantastical, unstoppable killing machine, the original Halloween 1 and 2, they were still based in reality. Somewhat, like especially the first movie. I mean, he's basically just a serial killer on the loose. There's nothing really supernatural about him.
Well, they explain it in the first 2 movies as like he's a serial killer that's driven with so much pure evil and hate that he's completely unstoppable.
Yeah,
And that's like his supernatural ability is that he just hates everything so fucking much that you can't stop him. And
But
I kind of relate.
but it's still grounded in reality somewhat. Halloween 3 goes in a whole different direction. It's got witchcraft. It's got science fiction elements. It's got robots. It's got
Bugs.
got bugs
For some
coming
reason,
out of people's
got fucking
mouths.
bugs in it.
There's so many bugs. It's just like
Who looked at this movie and was like, let's do masks, robots, bugs, and just a fast and loose plot and just fucking hope for the best.
Well, that would be Tommy Lee Wallace, the man who wrote it.
Yeah.
Not really. He tweaked it. The actual writer took himself off of it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the actual writer took his own life, and I was like, that tracks.
No, he was not happy with the violence in the rewrite and had actually told them to take his name off.
What
of it.
violence? There's like one scene of robot violence.
I'm not the dude. I'm just
it.
telling you that the reason Tommy gets
Well,
full credit is because the original writer was like,
There are some pretty good violent scenes in this movie, especially the part at the beginning when the robot, at the beginning of the movie, the guy that they find, he's being chased by the robots, and they find him. He's got the mask, and he goes to the hospital where we meet the great, fantastic Tom Atkins as deadbeat dad,
who
surgeon.
wins the award for the most
Dr.
unearned
Daniel
sex ever.
Chalice is his name.
But during that scene, one of the robots comes to the hospital, and I don't know exactly how you describe this. He takes he puts gloves on for some reason. I mean, he's a robot, but he needs to have gloves on for this to kill this guy. But he sticks his thumb and his pointer finger into the dude's eye sockets and pulls his skull out to kill him. That was pretty violent.
That was pretty gross.
It's the same reason that we use antiseptic when we're giving someone a lethal injection. You don't want to have an infection.
No, but see, then he goes and he wipes his hand on the freaking curtain and goes out to his car and blows up.
Yeah.
So what was the point in trying to mitigate the fingerprints there?
Yeah.
He's like, never mind, blow up time.
Yeah. So
The guy's whose name I couldn't remember, by the way, the guy who wrote the most of the story is Nigel Neals.
Oh,
Kneales.
Fucking boo, am I right?
Fucking
Shut
boo.
up. How do you not like the tone of this movie? This movie just screams Halloween, the season. You know, the season of Halloween. How the Halloween season is supposed to feel.
Well, number one, Connell Cochran's a dick because he went over there and he stole a piece of Stonehenge. You can't put that shit back. Okay, you stole it. You're a dick. That's the first thing.
He's a very successful businessman.
He's a very successful businessman that turns all the kids into crickets. And that's the next
Or
thing.
does
Why
he?
crickets? Why crickets? Why didn't you pick a more interesting bug? Now you just have nasty crickets.
Because it's gross and it's a joke on the children.
Yeah, I don't understand the guy's motivation for this.
His motivation
all
is...
the kids are not taking advantage, but they don't take the Halloween seriously anymore. And he wants to teach them a lesson.
Okay, but
it's right there in the movie, Jacob. I mean, if you've watched it.
So
no, but every villain is I want to do something to get powerful or rich. And this motherfucker is just I want to teach the kids these days a lesson.
Well,
Because he's already rich. He's bored with that now.
The premise is that he's got to be 1,000 years old. He's an old Celtic warlock is essentially the thing.
Yeah.
And in Neo-Druidism and in Celticism, I guess that's not even really a word, but whatever.
Because in the big exposition dump when he's got Tom Atkins in the chair,
That's pretty much.
when he's got Tom
we said
Atkins,
it was sci-fi.
Yeah,
Not sci-fi without an exposition dump.
Yeah, he's got Tom Atkins in the tied up in the chair, and he's going to put the mask on him. He tells him the whole plot. He tells him the whole story. He's like, I want to bring back the days of the blood running through the streets, the skies turning red, demons and ghosts and goblins run the earth, and we worship them, and all this cool stuff used to happen, and now people just, he even says, he's the kids go to house begging for candy. He hates what Halloween has become. His whole point is he has been on the earth for a couple thousand years. He's become one of the richest people on the planet by being a toy maker, basically, and he's done this whole plot as all this has been building towards him playing a joke on the children and making Halloween what it originally was supposed to be.
The Festival of Samhain, yeah.
He's essentially a druid boomer, okay?
Basically,
he doesn't like these damn millennials are running around ruining my holiday.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I feel he could have just burned down the pumpkin spice factories instead of you know, trying to make magic robot bug
That
masks.
would not.
If you
that
were
would
magic
not.
and you could do that, that's what you do. Why would he
But
be
No,
so
it's
mundane?
not, Mike. That's not what I would fucking do. On the top, if I was magic and rich, bug masks and robots would not be on the top of my list. Okay?
Yeah, but if you were been like, think about it for a second. If you've been alive for say 2,000 years, even
Like
maybe even older than that, like how old are the druids? Like when
Pretty
Halloween,
old.
like a couple of thousand years. If you're that old, you're probably and you're that rich, you're probably pretty freaking bored.
I don't know. I feel like instead of this, what he did, he should have just tried butt stuff. If he was that bored.
But let's clear it up 100% because I have a question.
Mhm.
Now,
I have an
immortal
answer.
druid, is that like vampires? They can just bury themselves for 100 years and they get bored? I'm
No.
asking Jin, the pagan.
No, that is not how that works. And there's no such thing as immortal pagans. So there.
I beg to differ because this guy is one.
Druidism actually, they do not believe that somebody could live forever. So that's a thing. But no, druids are not vampires.
But he was not a druid though; he was a warlock.
He was a warlock. Druids
Celtic
are all
warlock.
earth magic and stuff like that. They wouldn't be summoning demons from the underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go
this-
back in time 20 years, 40 years and tell John Carpenter that.
Yeah. This might not even be relevant, but I in a time before time, I interviewed a bit of an expert on druids and stuff. He was this like director guy who was directing a movie about druids
Mhm.
and all the like earth magic and like ley lines and shit. That shit's pretty legit. And it's not like scary magic. It's kind of just like the origin of earth type stuff.
Yeah,
well, they
it's
wouldn't
pretty
tell
cool.
you the scary magic part. That's just for them.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I just my interview with this guy had nothing to do with, you know,
bugs
putting
and
masks.
rattlesnakes.
Yeah, putting a mask on a kid and turning it into a fucking pile of bugs. Like why
And
the
one
kid have to-
rattlesnake.
Wait,
and one rattlesnake.
But listen,
I
listen, you
have to ask Jen a question. As
Sure.
as a female, how do you deny the raw sexual power of Tom Atkins in his prime?
The
Well,
question is, you don't. that's the answer.
Jacob's got a big boner for him, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So Tom Atkins in his prime had a just an amazing dad bod, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say you have to put the '80s filters on because I don't see it from today's perspective. But he was legit in all these movies as like the hunk.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
I mean,
I say before, he's the great valued Burt Reynolds.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It's like
Wait, he has to be the Greer's version of Burt Reynolds because the great value version of Burt Reynolds is Tom Selleck. So
Oh well, he would be. What's the Dollar General food? Clover Valley. He's the Clover Valley.
Yeah.
It's
Burt Reynolds.
it's that
That's
line from
best
Parks
choice.
and Rec where he's like, "Did you know there was a generic version of Hydrox? I didn't."
Yeah, I feel like Tom Atkins was famous for being like when they need
Available.
You're right. Well, they need like a rugged action star guy who they could pay like $20,000 to do this movie. Like he is the Scott Conn of the 80s. Like
severely underpaid.
No, I feel like he was the original Bruce Campbell. Like Bruce Campbell became the Tom Atkins of the 90s because Bruce Campbell did a lot of independent horror movies where it's just like, how much did you get paid to do this crap movie? Like he did a lot of and Bruce Campbell is like the king of schlock horror. I feel like Tom Atkins, gave him a run, was like the godfather of schlock.
yeah, I feel like they called him to do Halloween 3 and his one question was, will there be craft services?
There'll be road beers, I can guarantee you that.
And the answer is yes.
Will I be able to awkwardly put a nipple in my mouth? And the answer is yes.
Listen, can we talk about that for a second? How much puss did he get in this fucking movie?
No,
He was a
wins. I said this
hound.
earlier. But he wins the award for the most unearned ass ever.
Oh yeah, that's what makes it
Literally
great.
tripped and fell and like, hey, you want to have sex now?
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about just that. So like when I was watching it again today, because I just finished watching it for the second or third. I don't know how many times I've watched this stupid movie now.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. But I just got done watching it. So in the beginning, when he's there, he's like putting his hands on the nurse, right? So like he's got he like even smacks her on the ass at some point. And then he's got an ex-wife, but she makes a comment about smashing at some point. Then there's the mortician, like the medical examiner.
Yeah.
She's like, "We going to dinner?" And I mean, so he like literally gets so much puss. And then there's Ellie, so he obviously smashes Ellie.
Two random facts for that. One, the mortician was added in post. They filmed the movie with him talking to no one. Just his end of the conversation and like a voice in the phone.
Nice.
They added her and the relationship and reshoots.
I didn't know
That's a backwards way to do shit.
No, here's the backwards way to do. Here's the skeezy guy way to do things. Ellie, the actress who played Ellie, I mentioned this a minute ago. She put in her contract, "I'm not going to show my nipples." So instead of writing the scene where you couldn't see her boobs, they're like, "Okay, cool. What we're going to do is we're going to put your nipple in his mouth, and then you can't see your nipple."
Yeah.
That was their solution.
Because he was like turning his head like this, and I'm like, "Are you?"
That's why that's such an
like
awkward move,
like,
because he couldn't let it be shown.
Look, in the 1980s, men had no idea how to pleasure women. That's just a fact.
Didn't know or didn't care. I can make the argument either way.
And also, there was nothing else to do because there was no internet. So it's like, fall into my arms and let's make love because I'm all out of road.
I don't even think they had a TV in that hotel room. All they had was a radio.
Right. It's like
if you
if you have nothing between you but space and opportunity, I learned that from Mike.
Yes. It's my favorite 90s way of saying you want to fight.
Or fuck. It works both ways.
Yes, apparently it does work for that as well. Nothing between us but space and opportunity.
There you go.
So if you've never seen this movie and you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, basically Tom Atkins is a surgeon /
alcoholic.
Is he a surgeon or is he just kind of like
he was working the ER. I just assumed that he was an ER
trauma doctor, so just like an ER doctor.
But he was seemed like he was like over the whole hospital. Like he was the only doctor there in that entire
this hospital looked like mom and pa's hospital. They probably have like 3 doctors.
Yeah.
But apparently he's very unhappy with his job because this guy comes in holding a mask and says they're going to kill us all. They don't know what he's talking about. The guy dies mysteriously. But not mysteriously, but this robot dude comes in and kills him. Tom Atkins chases him out of the hospital. The dude sets himself on fire in the car, blows up. They don't know what the hell's going on. So the guy that died, his daughter comes in the next morning to identify the body, and they've got a connection going on there. And she somehow, she doesn't know how the dad died. She wants to know. And so she finds him at the bar, which the greatest line is, she said, "The nurse told me I could find you here." Yeah, that's how you know you're a freaking alcoholic.
The nurse is like, "Oh no, yeah, he's at the bar."
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I know people who work in ERs, and that's Tuesday for them.
Yeah. And so he decides that he doesn't like his life as a surgeon and follows her. They go to her dad's store, find out he's selling these masks. That one that he was holding in his hand. They find out that they're made at the Silver Shamrock factory, which is like a couple hours away. And then he decides to leave with her to go on this adventure / become a private detective, which he has no skills in whatsoever. She does all the detective work. He does none. He's just drinking beers and along for the ride.
Hey, I'm here to be sexy and have a penis.
Yeah.
And I've done my job.
And rock a mustache.
He's the Jacob Craig of Halloween 3.
And so they eventually
really have much of a mustache.
They find this town that the Silver Shamrock factory is in, and it's one of those weird towns where like no outsiders, like people don't like the outsiders.
Also, the way it's filmed, this is where the movie to me becomes good. This is what redeems everything else in the movie. Because you come into this village and it's all creepy, but you can't put your finger on it.
It's very unsettling.
So well shot and just feels weird. And it's done very, very well. And that, to me, is where this movie shines.
And
And
then
everybody speaks in, normal American dialect except for the one dude at the motel who's got this thick Irish accent.
well,
And-
to be fair,
and
they said it was an Irish town because
Yeah.
a lot of Irish people settle there because of Conall Cochran, and the whole town revolves around this silver shamrock factory.
Also, I feel like that's the kind of bullheaded actor that just like, my character would be like this, and like we can't afford to recast him, so we've got to just fucking let him do it.
Also, I know that Jason and Mom Thulu know this because we talked about it the first time we did this movie. But Jacob, did you catch who was on the loudspeaker in town?
No, I didn't.
It's Jamie Lee Curtis,
Mm-hmm.
who
Oh,
did a cameo as the voice on when they called curfew. That's her.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I remember hearing that from when I watched the episode.
There's a couple Easter eggs of Michael Myers in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I know that they see him on TV because like the Halloween movies and this film are like movies.
Mm-hmm. The Horror-thon is what they call
Yeah.
it. The Horror-thon.
Which
And-
is actually what was playing in 1982 on
Mhm.
Halloween night.
True
That was
facts.
True facts.
And our hero, our quote hero, is having none of it. He's like, change the frickin' channel. I don't want to watch this. crap."
I mean, yeah, because that song isn't. Oh,
It
wait,
is so annoying.
you're talking about Halloween. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the commercial.
But yeah, if you watch the movie, be prepared. You're gonna hear the Happy Happy Halloween song 35 times.
30,000
I
times.
saw it when I was looking at fun facts, and I didn't write it down as one of the facts. I don't remember, but I think they said 9 times
Yeah.
that song plays throughout the movie.
And that's one thing that this movie does good is that every time I hear it, I'm scared to listen to it again.
You want to like seriously kick something next to you
Yeah.
so that it'll
But I
stop.
think that's the whole point.
Jacob, happy Halloween, Halloween,
God.
Halloween.
That's the whole point of the song. Is it's supposed to be unnerving and like
Yeah.
aggravating.
Did you guys catch that they got the countdown wrong? So like at first, in the very first time that you hear that, it says we're 4 days away from Halloween. And then the next time you hear it, they say we're 8 days away from Halloween. And then the next time you hear it, they say we're 2 days away from Halloween. And I'm like, which is it? Is it
You
4,
sure it was 8 the second
2?
time? Because
It was 8.
4 days is correct based on the timeline of the movie.
Mhm.
27th, 28th, 29th.
I do remember at one
31st.
point they said 8 days, but I thought that was way earlier in the movie because this whole movie takes over the course of like a week.
So the very first time that you hear the commercial, they say 4 days. Because I paid attention to that. Because I went back when he said 8, I was like, the hell? And I went back and rewind it so that way I would hear the first time
That's
again.
just
and I
an
was like,
editing mistake.
yeah. So
Um,
482.
One thing I do want to point out that I really like on the IMDb page is the kid, the really asshole kid, little buddy, that puts on the pumpkin mask and gets turned in. His whole head turns into a bunch of crickets and nasty stuff. His name is Brad Schachter, and his IMDb picture is him with the mask on, like having his head melted. That's his IMDb picture.
So clearly his career skyrocketed
Yeah,
after this.
Yeah.
that was the only thing he's known for.
I mean, that was really good acting. I don't know any other actor who could have done that.
Yeah.
But with the crickets and everything.
But yeah, so we go through the movie. Yeah,
I got what you were saying, Jacob. I got you.
Thanks, man.
Things just get weird from then on. Like, I don't want to go
Yeah.
through the whole plot, but let's just say it involves robots because, the Conall Cochran has apparently mastered artificial intelligence and robots, and the love interest Ellie at some point in the movie gets turned into a robot as well he has one of the funniest fight scenes with her on
It's so
ever
stupid.
in cinematic history, and I just love it to death.
Yeah.
Okay.
So look, here's what we need to discuss. Did Tom Atkins fuck the robot Ellie?
Yeah, because at
No!
what point did she get turned into a robot?
And
Well,
I
I
think that
always
explains a
figured-
lot. That would make more sense if she was a robot.
I always figured that she got turned into a robot when she was stuffed in that room because like that got separated at one point and she was like tied down to a room. So I'm like, that's when Ellie became a robot, right?
That's my assumption as well.
Or was Ellie a robot the whole fucking time?
The whole time.
That's
dude.
what actually
here's-
what I was about
That
to
was
bring
my
up
well was gonna
because
be is that
Tom Atkins is the only witness to the robot that blows himself up. So what if she was sent to bring him on that quest to the factory so that he could be killed.
I mean, that would make sense because she gives conflicting stories about her dad. Like when Ellie goes in there the first time to talk to him in the bar, she says, you know, did my dad say anything before he died? And he said, yeah, tell Ellie that I love her. And she was like, you're a terrible liar. My dad would never say that shit. But then the very next scene when they go to his store, she's like, Papa was such a warm and loving person. And I'm like, which is it?
Yeah.
Which is it? So I think she was a robot the whole fucking time.
That's a good retcon for how she, you know, why she even bothered to ask the stranger who she just met at the hospital to come with her.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe the first time we see Ellie when she's in the hospital to identify the body, that's the real Ellie. And then she just leaves. And that's the end we see of the real Ellie. And then when he's in the bar and she shows up, that's the robot Ellie.
Which would make more sense as a human being.
Like, the only way we could tell if she's real or not is if we see her nipples, and we don't. So she's probably not real, dude.
I was gonna say before we got into it was that Tommy Lee Wallace is quoted as saying he has no freaking idea. It was not planned. There's no like Bible of the show or the movie that says what happened. There's no idea. Who knows?
And that's what I respect about good writers is when you ask them a question about their work, they say, "Yeah, I got nothing, dude."
You're like, there's a serious hole in here and I need you to explain it. And they're like, hole is hole.
Yeah, it's like, I wrote that on a Coke binge for $5,000. I don't remember what's happening.
Tracks.
I think the reason I like this movie so much is because it's so broken and weird. And it just has a cool tone to it. And it's got that John Carpenter creepy music to it that just sets off the mood of the movie. And plus, when I saw this for the first time, this is actually the very first Halloween movie I ever saw. I didn't see Halloween 1 and 2 until like I saw this for the first time. There used to be on our local Fox station on Sunday nights there was this thing called Crown Dodge Chrysler Theater, and they would play just like horror movies and all that kind of stuff. That was the first time I saw. This was like 1986, 87. I first saw this movie. I didn't see the first Halloween movies until like I was in high school, like the early 90s. So this was the first and only Halloween movie I'd seen up until that point.
And it's the only one that's sponsored by Crown Dodge Chrysler.
Yeah.
But so
it's a great bad movie. That's what it is. And I see Mom Bulu shaking her head. Not 24 hours ago, you just said Return of the Living Dead was a good movie.
It's a fucking great movie.
And this is bad.
We're not talking about that. We can't
I
compare.
feel like
There's
both
no
of those movies, Return of the Living Dead and Halloween 3, are on the same level.
Exactly.
No.
There's no comparing this to anything. You have to take this on its own merits, okay?
There are nipples in Return of the Living Dead, okay? There are
realize
nipples.
that, but
like
the amount
full-on nipples.
But no puss.
You're right, there is no puss.
But I know that those nipples don't belong to a robot because I saw them and they were warm.
They do eventually become zombie nipples, but they're still nipples.
But not robot zombie nipples.
Not robot zombie nipples.
So here's my biggest bone to pick with this movie, right? The masks, okay? The whole plot of this movie. The kids put on the masks and they turn into bugs or what fucking ever, and it's this big trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have it been so much better if when the kids put on these masks, they all get the same thirst and rage and urge to kill that Michael Myers had and goes on
Michael
a
Myers
fucking...
is not part of this.
No, look, Michael Myers is a inspiration in this universe. They know who Michael Myers is. He's on the television. What if when they put these masks on, they turn into unstoppable serial killers?
Now look, Jacob, don't
Wouldn't
sit
that
here
make
and
it
write
so
a
much
better
better?
movie, okay? Just take it for what it is, and that was Connell Cochran's plan, was to turn all the kids' heads into buggy mush.
But dude, like how much paint thinner and Red Bull do you have to huff to get fucking bugs and robots instead of just like, yeah, these kids put on these masks and then they're fucking murderers and they murder their parents.
You could even done like where the mask like sticks onto their face and it's just like mayhem. Like they're now monster faces for the rest of their lives. I mean,
yeah,
still a better movie than Bugs and Rattlesnakes.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
There we go.
Look, I like the movie the way it is. It's a classic.
Same.
Now, here's the thing. We could take your idea, Jacob, and make a remake, which would arguably be not necessarily a remake, but just sort of what do they call them, like a inspired by sort of
inspiration.
It's a great age for stealing people's work.
It is, man. Yeah, we should go on tour with this idea.
You know what? Instead of making Connell Cochran like some 2,000-year-old Celtic, he should just be some dude with Alzheimer's. You know, that's like, I'm a warlock.
Right, played by Jason, obviously.
Right, there we go. There you go.
But then where would his motivation be? Because he's just an old man with a brain disorder.
He just fucking hates kids, dude.
He hates them.
Well, that's just regular old people, man. You don't have to have Alzheimer's to have that.
And that's the title of the movie, is Regular Old People.
Regular old people.
Yeah.
Do you think already exists?
Slowly slipping into senility.
Mom Thulu, I'm going to ask you a serious question here.
Okay.
Do you think you would have liked this movie better? Or do you think the public would have liked this movie better if they would have done like Tommy Lee Wallace wanted to do and not call it Halloween 3, just call it Season of the Witch, like a Halloween story?
No, I still would have hated it.
No, look, this is what you think, man. Like, if you detach the Halloween from the Season of the Witch, you think it's going to get better. And everyone's gonna be like, oh, Season of the Witch is fucking great. But it's going to go into obscurity because the only thing holding it here is the fact that it's Halloween 3. If it wasn't Halloween 3, no one would be talking about this movie. It would just be like, oh, remember that dog shit movie, Season of the Witch, that was on Mystery Science Theater 3000 one time? Like, that's what it would be without the Halloween.
Is this an episode of Mystery 3000? Because if it is, I gotta find that episode.
I don't think it actually is an episode.
It should be.
No. Theater 3000.
I think if it would still be tied to the Halloween universe if they would have said a Halloween story.
Yes.
But it's like also, if you detach it from Halloween, then it's not going to get better. It's
because then what they could have done, they could have gone on with the Michael Myers stuff, but the anthology movies could have just been tangentially connected to the Halloween movies, like they were
I like the
in this movie.
Where like the Halloween movies stay on like the TV and stuff.
Yeah.
But
look, this is them finding out the hard way that as a studio, the investment in a Halloween movie without Michael Myers is not there. You will not make money on a Halloween movie without Michael Myers.
So fun fact that this was the last Halloween movie that Universal did.
Right.
So they were like, okay. Yeah, they were like, no.
You need Busta Rhymes. You need Busta Rhymes in the Halloween movies, or they don't work. You have to have Busta Rhymes versus Michael Myers.
But I mean, have you seen Halloween 4 and 5? Those movies are objectively awful.
They're awful.
Yeah, it's still better than 3, though, aren't they?
No.
By the
amount of Busta Rhymes.
By the way, it made over $14 million and only cost $2 million. So
$2.5 million, and it grossed $14.4 million in the box office.
I'm going to ask you a question here, Jacob. They could. Okay. What if they went back and CGI'd out Tom Atkins and put Buster? What's his name?
Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
You did not.
He called him Busta Rhymes.
Buster Rhymes on my podcast.
Can I point out that if you have Busta Rhymes coming into a little quaint, isolated white town with a white woman, the ending would be very, very different in 1982.
Yeah,
very different.
It wouldn't have ended well at all for
so
anyone.
if Mr. Buster Rhymes himself was in this movie, would it make it better?
Obviously it would, dude.
Yeah,
like no doubt about it. Buster Rhymes makes everything better. Look, it did make a good profit margin. I'll give you that. It did good at the box office. It became a cult film, but compare those box office gains versus Halloween 1 and 2 and every other fucking Halloween movie, dude.
But Halloween 1 cost like $10 to make.
Yeah.
So
it was still way good though. It was great.
Let's see what Halloween 5 made at the box office.
No, let's do Halloween 4. Let's do the one right after.
Also, I feel like John Carpenter is like the 80s version of Kevin Smith, where people are like, your movie sucks. It's like, my movie made money.
Yeah.
I live off of it, so fuck you. I don't care.
The Revenge of Michael Myers. The budget was 5.5 million and it grossed 11.6 million in the box
So
office.
this movie made more money.
Yes.
Yeah, this movie
And
made
it cost
more.
less than
Even
it.
before
But
you adjust for inflation.
But it made less than Halloween 4, the one right after with Michael Myers' Big Return. The budget was 5 million and the box office was 17.8 million.
But then people found out how bad the movie sucked, and that's why they didn't go see
really
5.
bad.
Right. But that's all different patterns and trends. You know, you look at right before Halloween 3 and you look at right after Halloween 3 and compare the budgets. Like there's something that the studios are seeing. They're like, yeah, we can't make money like this.
Yeah, the studios suck.
The production companies for Halloween 5 was Magnum Pictures.
For those of you listening on Jaster's Court, you remember we just talked about Alien 3 and how the studio fucked it up.
They fucked it up.
First of all, Jaster's Court is my favorite podcast.
Jasters. That's what you said.
So
this is not coffee.
It is my opinion right now that if they would have done 2 separate, if they just missed out on a money-making opportunity to do an anthology Halloween series and keep the Michael Myers going at the same time. And they could have flip-flopped the movies every other year. One year you get a mainline Halloween story, then the next Halloween you get the anthology, then the one after you get a mainline Halloween. That way you get a good 2 years to make each set of movies instead of trying to crank out one per year and coming up half-assed.
It made enough money. That's what they should have done. And it would have helped make more movies over time because what do we wait, like 10 years in between Michael Myers showing up?
Yeah.
Because you get sick of it. No one wants to keep watching the same thing every summer.
Yeah.
This would let you alternate it.
That's easy to say in 2022, but no one was doing this back in the 80s. Like, there's no anthology.
They wanted this to be an
Actually,
anthology.
there is an anthology movie. So
Yeah,
if they had called it an anthology movie, they would be like competing with Creepshow. Because
Yeah,
I was going to say
Creepshow.
Creepshow. Yeah, Creepshow did it.
Collection.
There was a lot of anthology horror movies back in the 80s because it was a lot easier to do, 5 short films and put them all in as one movie instead of doing just one big movie.
Mm-hmm. Like Trick or Treat.
Yeah, Trick or Treat's one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
So fucking good. It's like the best movie ever. Now we're gonna start talking about Trick or Treat. We got to focus.
Yeah, we should talk about that instead of the dog shit one.
You
so
suck.
On the Innsmouth Rag, one of the things that we do is we talk about the effects of the movie. So let's transition to that instead of how much we hate it.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about the blood, the gore, the transitions, the plot line as a whole, and whether or not you liked it. Okay. So starting with the violence and blood. Okay, there really isn't a lot of it.
Yeah, there's
movie.
not a lot of violence or blood in the movie.
Right, and some of the blood that we do see is actually yellow because it's not blood; it's just robot.
It's not
goo.
human blood.
Yeah.
It's
And watching this from a desensitized standpoint of the modern day, you see like the whatever gore or like horror elements that are in it, and you're like, that's fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah, you're just kind of like.
You got to remember, like you said, this is from our perspective now. This is back when Married with Children was considered, dangerous for the family.
Yeah.
Right.
And every time I saw the robot goo, it made me think of orange juice concentrate that had been left out and
I'm pretty sure that's what they used to make it.
Oh, they probably did. Because
I'm pretty sure I read
they
somewhere
used
that that's
a lot
what they
of
used
oatmeal
to
and
make it.
marshmallows to make their gore. So it probably was like orange juice pudding or something.
Yeah.
Blech, gross.
Orange juice pudding.
Oatmeal and marshmallows got
Just
me
like
feeling some kind of diabetic.
So,
I was just going to say, just like Brimley used to make.
So one of the other things that we talk about whenever we do an Innsmouth Rag is we talk about the transitions, because everybody knows in horror movies sometimes the transitions suck like just crazy. So the transitions in this movie between scenes, were they easy to follow or were they hard to follow? And I have to say that they were actually pretty easy and seamless in my opinion. It wasn't
Because it
jumping
was
around.
a well-directed movie.
No, it was.
Well,
I don't think it's a simply directed movie. It's very simple.
Well,
Good.
it's because-
To me, simple is
we do
George
kids.
Lucas and Star Wipes. Okay.
To be fair, I think this was Tommy Lee Wallace's first movie that he did.
I think you're right.
Let me
Okay.
look back. Yeah, this was his first movie. Before this, he worked as, I think, art director, or was he he worked on the original Halloween movies with John Carpenter, and that's why he got the job as director of this movie.
Well, dude, you made a better first movie than this.
Well, thank you, but
Like, what are we talking about here?
thank you, but still, it takes village.
So as far as transitions go, I think we can all agree that they're actually pretty seamless and easy to follow. They're
Yeah.
not jumping all over the place and confusing the shit out of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is not a movie that bounces around to a lot of places. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
easy to follow except for the actual plot line of what's happening.
That's
Because
what we're
you
gonna
don't
talk
pay
about next.
attention.
No,
So-
I do, dude.
Here's the thing that we got to talk about whenever it comes to like the Innsmouth Rag as a gossip rag. The plot line itself, not whether or not you hated it, but whether or not you were able to understand it and follow it in a cohesive line.
I
So-
understood it
Absolutely not.
perfectly.
Yes.
I understood it perfectly too. So Jacob, I think you might just be dumb.
Jacob's just
but
fucking
You guys
stupid.
aren't thinking about it enough. I understand it. I get what they're going for, but my question is, why did they choose this to go for?
Well,
And
but
I
see,
don't
that's-
understand a person doing that.
That's not what we're talking about when we say we have to rate the plot. We have to rate the plot and
Okay.
make sure that the story flows, and it does. It's
the
a
story.
flowable story.
The story is a solid 2 out of 10. It works.
There we go. A 2 out of 10. It works. All right. So
I'm gonna drive to bumfuck Mississippi
the
and
effects,
slap you for
then.
that.
There's not a lot of effects in this movie, so we can't really talk about effects that aren't existing.
No, it's
right?
pre CGI. It's all
Mhm.
practical, and it's
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
basic at that.
But see, like even a pre CGI movie can have effects. Like for example,
I just
Evil
said it's all
Dead.
practical
Right.
effects. I didn't
It's
say there were no
just-
effects.
There's
Yeah.
like no effects. I mean, there's one
Well, there are
robot fight
effects.
scene.
Unless you were aware of robots walking around and blowing up and goo coming out of them. There's
Okay.
effects.
Okay.
Fucking-
Okay.
You know any
Pumpkin
children whose
Drublick.
heads have turned into bugs.
I mean, the effects that they did have are really good. Like when the lady gets shot in the face with the when she's messing with the little silver shamrock thing, and she gets shot in the face with it, and then they come back to her, and her face is all mangled and like
It's
bugs
like
are coming out.
it's like bleh. Oh, just gross.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rampage
I like-
in the chat room. He said he's never seen Halloween 3. Now he's gonna have to watch this garbage. Yes,
Who
please.
said that?
Yeah, dude. Thank you. It's fucking garbage, bro.
I am the
Garbage.
Rampage in the
You
chat
can't
room.
use him to agree with you. He hasn't seen it.
No, he already knows, dude. He's smart enough to know that it's dumb.
All right, so we're gonna rate it now. That's what we do on the Innsmouth Rag. We do a rating and we give it an average rating. So on a scale of
10,
1
a
to
fucking
10.
10.
Okay, so on a
Okay,
scale of
we
1
need
to
to
10,
be
Jay
realistic,
gives
or they're
it
not
a,
going to take us seriously.
right.
Okay,
On a
we'll be
scale of 1 to
realistic.
10, Jay, go first.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, it has its problems, right? But is it the enjoyment factor for me trumps all the dumb shit that's in the movie? So I gotta give it. It's gonna get I've got to give it an average rating. Like it's an average movie, I guess. As far as that goes, like I'll give it a 7. But in my
7.
heart,
God,
it's a
dude.
10.
What
Okay.
the fuck,
Okay.
bro?
Mike-
7 is too high.
What did I give Evil Dead 6.5?
Yes.
Okay, then I gotta say 6 because I can't put this over the Evil Dead.
See,
Okay.
that's where we got a problem, Mike. You
Jacob.
gave Evil Dead 2. What did you give it? A 6 or a 7?
I gave that
Yeah.
a 7.
Evil Dead is
Dead
up
2
there, bro.
Is quite possibly one of the most perfect horror movies ever made. How
It's
could
so
you give it
good.
a 7? That movie is a
I'd give it an
solid
Ask-
10.
Hey, that is one of the highest scores I've given
He really is hard on
over the
the
course
scores.
of Innsmouth Rag. I am very hard on these movies.
He really is. Like Insidious gave him such a boner. You have no idea.
Just the first one. Just the
Just
first
the
one.
first one. Like,
Everything
he had,
else
he had
is
an
around 4
insidious
to
boner.
6 is my range.
Yeah. So Jacob,
Yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay. So I'm gonna be generous here, okay?
Okay, do it.
I'm gonna be generous.
He's gonna say 2.
And I'm gonna
so
be
his house is
realistic.
fucking slap him.
Daddy's doing a podcast right now. I'm talking to people on the internet. All right. I'm gonna be generous.
She wanted to
I'm
come
not
in
gonna-
and say that Halloween 3 was her favorite movie.
She's never gonna watch this garbage in her entire life.
She's gonna
I
go fight it right
guarantee
now.
that.
I'll buy her a copy on DVD for Christmas.
Yeah. Baby, go find mama. No, dude, go find mama. Go find mama.
He just said no dude to his toddler
We can't make too much fun. We've had to edit out our kids so many times.
so many times.
Welcome to Mississippi.
But anyways, I'm gonna be generous. I'm not gonna give it a 1 just to annoy Jason. I think that I got enjoyment from the pure ridiculousness of it, I had a few laughs, and it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Okay, there are a few.
There's
that
two.
Are,
There's two.
There's a couple of movies I've seen that are worse than this one.
Okay.
I'd give it a 3.
A 3. Okay.
Jason, I'm gonna need you to text
very
me.
generous.
I'm gonna need you to text me his address in the swamps.
Okay.
Look, dude. Hey,
maybe throw me a good boat rental where I can get the rest of the way.
Hey, Daddy, you can come get all this yolk if you want, but you better stop at the honey hole on your way and get some gator balls because you're gonna need them for all the balls that I got for you, baby.
I'm just gonna bait you to a trap with some cheeseburgers and bacon,
and it's gonna work, Daddy.
All right.
Don't forget the hot sauce.
We did the Innsmouth stuff. I have something.
No, we're not done yet. I still haven't rated it.
Oh, you haven't rated. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, because you're too busy.
You're
talking.
in the other room. I don't have to go so far to get you. So go ahead. Give me your number.
Honestly, I give it a 2. I have to rate it lower than Jacob. I hated this movie so much. I hated the time I spent to watch it. I hated it more than House 1. And House 4. I hated it more than House 4.
You take that back.
No.
You take that back. House 4?
Okay. So an average Innsmouth rating of this is a 4.5. That is what this movie does for me.
That's too high.
Real quick.
4.5 is too high.
Attorneys and Pensacola.
Look, I was very generous because in my heart this is a 2, but I was being generous because the laughs that I got that it wasn't supposed to give me bumped it up to a 3 for me because it inadvertently made me laugh my ass off at how just fucking horrible and a waste of a time it is.
There you go. See, so a 4.5 is what it got. And I'm gonna throw this out here before he starts talking the Jester's Court bullshit. If you want to watch this movie and you don't want to spend the money to watch it because it's terrible, you can watch it for free on Tubi. TUBI, Tubi, and you have to watch it with commercials, but at least you're not paying for it.
Yeah, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
But it should be.
So what I was going to bring from Jester's Court is fun facts. If you
Do
guys are ready for some fun facts.
Sure.
Yeah, dude.
So The Season of the Witch, the subtitle, is a nod to a George Romero film in 1972 called Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch.
It was a completely different movie.
I dig
Better,
it.
I'm sure.
I actually have never seen it, but now that he's mentioned it, we're going to fucking watch it.
You should, yeah. Anything George Romero for me, like even if it's obviously bad, is pretty good.
Why are you licking the air conditioning vent?
She's talking to her dog. The novelization of this film was more successful than the film.
Weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the article reading. When Halloween 3 was released, it didn't exactly go over well with critics and audiences alike. It was the lowest performing film in the series at the time. At the time, Jacob.
Yeah, and then Halloween 4
and the sequel was heavily criticized for taking the series in an all new direction.
Hold on, I gotta ban I Am the Rampage out of the chat room because he says, fun fact, nobody actually likes this movie. So I'm gonna perma ban him from the chat room.
Never again, my Rampage.
But yeah, anyway, so long story short, the novel is a bestseller.
Wow.
Really?
I know what we're getting Jason for Christmas now.
Right. Yeah.
I'll read it. Hell yeah, I'll read it.
Here's an either or, Jason, who's the fan of Atkins. I'll let you pick. Either the book is right or Tom Atkins is right. Tom Atkins swears to this day that Dr. Chalice saved everyone and ended the broadcast.
He just screamed in the phone.
I don't think he ended all the broadcasts.
I don't think so either.
I think there were still a few out there.
The book agrees. The book actually keeps with the original ending of the movie, which is it ends with the sound of children screaming as the credits go.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That's how the book ends it.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, that
the original ending.
For the effect,
the original ending, it went to black with just children screaming in the background, just letting you know he failed.
Yeah, that would have been good. They should have kept that in there.
How amazing would that have been?
Right?
And
I hated this movie, and I like that.
That's one positive thing I do like about this movie is I like movies where like the bad guys win.
I like movies where it ends it in a question where you get to fill in these blanks. You're like, oh my god, and then we get to have podcasts where we argue about who, you know, which one's right.
Well, it's like I like Infinity War better than Endgame. You know what I mean? It's like I like it when the bad guys win, and you're like, holy shit, that never happened.
Yeah, and especially if you're a type of person that likes definitive endings, you're not going to like this movie because it ends very ambiguously.
The town in California, Santa Mira, that's a nod to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's where that movie took place.
Oh, cool.
It's a fake town, but that's the same fake town as Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Just like Shermer, Illinois.
And I only got 2 more. They're quick ones. Michael Myers was in this movie. And not just on the TV like we talked about. Dick Warlock, the stuntman who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2, is in the movie credited as assassin.
Okay.
I think I knew that at one point, but I didn't remember.
So
I knew
Myers
he was in there somewhere.
He actually is in the movie. He just forgot his mask.
Because pretty much everybody that had something to do with the previous Halloween movies were in this movie at some point.
And the last one I have is just a middle finger for Robert Ebert, who at Jester's Court we almost always hate.
You mean Roger Ebert?
Yes, I do mean Roger Ebert.
You called him Robert Ebert.
I'm aware. Thank you.
Come on, Jaster.
Anyway, he said the movie is on his most hated list.
Really?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why?
No, but again, we disagree with Roger. God, I'm going to say Robert again. We disagree with him a lot. We don't like him.
Yeah, I get that. I guess he's had some pretty shit takes in the scheme of things, but that's a pretty good one.
Dago. Whoa.
Yeah, he actually had some movies that were really good movies that he shit on and then came back later and was like, I was wrong. I can't pinpoint which movie, but I know that happened several times.
And he's also had some like really bad movies, like on the blurb of the DVD on the back, Roger Ebert's like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. 5 stars. And it's like a shit.
And you watch it, it's like Starship Troopers.
Right, yeah.
I think he's got a blurb on my Evil Dead 2 VHS. It's like, Roger Ebert, thumbs up.
See?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's understandable. If I was doing the blurbs, by the way, I would put only the bad ones on there.
Like for your own book, like if you wrote your own book, you'd put all the bad blurbs on there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Just like the Amazon comments. Like, who's told this guy he could write? Yeah, like that.
But I guess that's going to bring us to the end of the episode. I guess we've definitively narrowed down that this movie is great.
Yeah, horrible.
It's fantastic.
Horribly great.
Everybody loves it.
Here's the thing. We've narrowed it down to the fact that A, the Innsmouth Rag Podcast is amazing and it's available wherever you can listen to podcasts. B, the Jaster's Court is very good. Both me and Jason Robbins have been guests on it, and it's the Jester's Court podcast that's also available wherever podcasts can be found. It's also very good. You should check that out too. And we've determined that we've presented evidence as to why this is dog shit and why it's really good, and that you guys should go watch the movie, and you should leave a comment on this video or on this podcast and tell us what you think about it, because your votes are going to settle where we land on this movie.
And don't forget, if you don't want to pay for it, you can get it on Tubi for free.
And that's the thing, isn't that the point? Like what really boils down to, at least it's an interesting movie, is because when it's and divides people so evenly between hating it or loving it. There's nobody that's like, Halloween 3 is pretty good, or I didn't really like it. And people are like, I love that movie, or like, I fucking hate it.
Right. It's either going to be a giant waste of time, or it's going to be one of your new cult classic movies.
Yeah.
And that's why you should waste your time at least once.
And I don't think I've ever experienced another movie that divides people so cleanly down the middle.
Yeah. There's a few
couple Star Wars movies that do that.
Yeah, but even
Every
with Star Wars
movie
movies, there's always something to like, or, there's always something that's going to piss you off or whatever. But, like, there's not, like, because even with, like, as much as I don't like, Rise of Skywalker, there's still stuff in there that I liked, that I would watch it for. But, I'm not going to say I hate it or love it. It's just kind of like, it's one of the Star Wars movies. I'll watch it if it's on. But I'm not
the only bad Star Wars movie is Solo.
Dude, you can get the hell out right now, because Solo is great.
Yeah,
great
it's not, though, is it?
So he tried to get me to watch it during the commentary, and I have something called auditory processing disorder, and he and his brother were talking the whole time. So I'm like trying to watch Solo, and all I'm hearing is blah blah. I'm an Evelyn, blah blah. You know, like, and I'm like, I'm not getting any of
Here's
this.
the thing. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. I watched it in the theater. I was like, that wasn't that great. But then I watched it a couple times afterwards, and I like it more and more the more I watch it.
Consensus and where I stand on it is it's kind of just meh, and it's unnecessary. It could have provided lore. It could have built worlds that you didn't know about, and it didn't do any of that.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. There's more bad Star Wars movies than there are good. And I'll fucking stand by that.
I will fight you over that.
The entire new trilogy is garbage. Solo's bad. Attack of the Clones is dog shit.
We're gonna get hate mail.
I'm a big fan.
You fans, when you comment on this, just remember that is Jacob Craig of the Open Micers.
Yeah,
all
hate mail
endorsed by the Jester's Court.
I'm yoked as fuck, and you don't want any of this because I get tased for fun.
Send all your hate mail to
I haven't watched it yet.
Jacob C. Craig at gmail.com.
It's Jacob C. Craig on Twitter. Tweet at me, you fucking virgins.
Or I think on Facebook he's Jacob's Not Funny, I think is what he's called.
Yeah, Jacob is.
That should be my Instagram handle, is Jacob's Not Funny. That's actually a pretty good handle. I might steal that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Let's start with Jen. Tell everybody where they can find you on the interwebs.
I'm going to go ahead and pass that torch off to Mike.
She does not know her own socials.
I do not even do social media very well. I came up with this idea to have a podcast, and then I was like, what's social media?
Just so you guys know, if anyone talks to us on social media, Innsmouth Rag, that's me you're talking to.
Yeah, you're not talking to me.
So you can find the Innsmouth Rag at Innsmouth Rag PC on Instagram and Twitter. It would be Facebook, but apparently I have too many pages and it won't let me create a new one, and she doesn't create her own stuff.
Oh, I guess I could do that. Shit.
And then if the next thing you were going to ask is Jester's Court Pod at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Jacob, got anything coming up here soon or no?
Yeah, so not necessarily soon, but I did just book a show. It's a headlining gig. I don't know if I can announce it yet, but I'm going to be headlining at a spot in Biloxi in August. So I've got some stand-up.
Is this a legit spa, or is it one of those handy job spas?
Yes.
A spa.
In Illinois,
I was kidding,
all kinds of
but his
spas
response
everywhere.
totally says yes.
Anyways, I got some stand-ups coming up in August, and we have a whole good month of episodes coming up in July. Not sure what we're gonna do for our bonus Patreon yet, but you can go to patreon.com /OM podcast, and you'll get our bonus episode, our bonus whatever pain we decide to put ourselves through, and early access to a great comedian, and very specifically a current UFC fighter, which we have never interviewed someone like that before. Super fucking excited for that.
Nice.
As far as I go, just follow me on Twitter at JFunktastic, and I'll let you know when I got stuff coming up. And that's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys for coming on the show and defending and attacking Halloween 3. And go follow their podcast. I'll put everything in the show notes. And if you would like to email us, you can email us at openmikerspodcast@gmail.com. Openmikers.com takes you straight to our brand new website. And also, you can go check out our Linktree at any of our social medias. Just go click that Linktree link, and it takes you everywhere you need to go. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next week.
I need a road beer.
Our dogs started both.
Wow, why is that playing?
Yeah, more music, more dogs, more road
It
beers.
just started playing by itself. I didn't even hit anything. Ooh, spooky.
It's the ghost of Halloween 3.
It's the ghost of John Carpenter coming to kick Jacob's ass.
He's not even dead yet, and his ghost is coming after him.
We had this conversation earlier, and we swore he was dead. Is he still alive?
He's
the
still
Mandela
alive.
effect. It's the Mandela effect.
Yeah, we had a whole discussion about that last week.
Last week, yeah.
But
Nice.
thank you guys for watching on Twitch, and everybody's going to watch this on YouTube. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.